Friends, we have some good news. If you are interested about the immigration bill to include people to have status, legal pathway to citizenship status, this video is for you. You'll want to watch all the way to the end to understand every bit of the progress. So I know from the previous videos, I had mentioned earlier that I don't think that this could pass until maybe the summertime. Well, things have changed because this past weekend, over 100 lawmakers, the Hispanic caucus, have sent a letter to push for a legal pathway for essential workers. Friends, if you're new to our channel, please subscribe down below. Smash the like button. That lets us know that you really enjoy the way we provide you the content, the free information, the breaking news. And if you know anyone that's interested in starting an immigration case or just has a question, please share our video, because we also have a live show on Tuesdays and Fridays, usually around the noon or 1:30 time. And we have one later today at 12 o'clock Central Time. But now, back to the news. Congress is working on an American Rescue Plan. That is about the coronavirus COVID-19 relief plan. There's been, I believe, already 5. Now, the last one was in December that extended the unemployment benefits until mid-March 2021. You might wonder, why is immigration being talked about with the American Rescue Plan? And that's because every time Democrats have talked about having some kind of immigration reform, they weren't able to get enough support. Back in 2013, there was actually 68 senators that passed an immigration reform bill. But on the House side, the Republicans controlled the House back in 2013 when President Obama was in office in the White House. So we're back to square one, right? So now this year, we need to get a bill passed for immigration for you. Now, this is how one way they're going to try to do that, and that is through the budget plan. Anytime there's a bill that's being passed through for a budget, it's called reconciliation, a budget reconciliation, because it only needs 51 votes to pass it. Whereas if it goes through the normal bill process, it needs 60 senator votes to pass that. And so if it was a standalone bill, it might not pass. It's still possible, but it might not pass. So that's why there's been some talk, especially with the Hispanic caucus. They sent a letter of 100 lawmakers, sent a letter to the chairman and also House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, urging that the negotiation should include a pathway to citizenship for essential workers, and also for TPS holders, temporary protected status for those who were born in countries where they suffered natural disaster, and also for people who have been here for a long time, and for people who also have DACA, that we call dreamers. And so this bill could include a lot of people. But the talk on the Hill, in Capitol Hill, is that if it's going to go through the budget reconciliation process with this American Rescue Plan, that it probably may only be an estimated 5 million people that is for the essential workers. Now, let me show you the letter that the Hispanic caucus sent to Pelosi. Now, we have the letter from the Hispanic caucus, over 100 lawmakers, pushing for a pathway to citizenship for essential workers. Okay, and this is dated yesterday, February 1st, 2021. We wanted to send this to you as soon as possible. Again, this includes TPS holders, dreamers, DACA recipients, and for essential workers. I'm going to go ahead and scroll down. You'll see all the names of the lawmakers. We'll skip that. We'll provide a link to this so you can read it later if you want. Check if your elected official was part of this. And if they weren't, you should send them a letter or an email. Give them a call. Tell them that they need to support this. What I want to show you is how many people they're estimating. 5 million undocumented immigrants, which 131,000 is for TPS holders, but a huge bulk of that, so about less than 5 million, are essential workers. They're healthcare workers, including doctors, nurses, home health aides. Personally, our families have needed in-home healthcare workers the past year, and so I know how essential they are. And they also include custodians, food servers, administrative workers, people working on farms, so farmers, people who work at food processing facilities, and also those who work in grocery stores and restaurants. And this list is long, right? It includes first responders and also teachers. So, and as many more people, there's a lot of occupations that could be considered as essential workers. I know some of y'all in the audience have already asked us in the comments. So please write in the comments below if you're an essential worker or you think you're an essential worker, and we'll try to check on that for you. Isn't it interesting and ironic that Americans depend on people, especially undocumented people who work in the food industry and as a first responder, whether it's the fire department or police department, and especially teachers. A lot of parents have been suffering the past year because their children have been staying home and they've had to work at home as well. And so I myself appreciate teachers for sure, absolutely, and first responders. And I also appreciate people who deliver groceries and through Instacart, for example, or DoorDash, or all these other companies, Uber Eats, and also people who work in the grocery stores. I know it would be difficult for me. So I want to say thank you. Thank you for helping Americans and everyday people living in America. So I do believe that Congress should pass and must pass an immigration bill to provide you a pathway to citizenship. So I encourage you, one way to encourage them, the elected officials, is to email or call your elected official. If you need help to find who your elected official is, we will provide a website in the description down below. Okay, so we'll make it easy for you to contact them. When you call them, when you email them, they're not going to ask for your immigration status, but they will ask for your address and your name because they want to make sure that you are living in that person's district. Okay, so let me explain why it must be done by middle of March. Because the last coronavirus relief plan or bill that was passed in December 2020 had the unemployment benefits ending in the middle of March 14th, 2021. So to help the American people and people who have been filing their taxes, including undocumented folks, at least the last bill, it included undocumented people who are married to a U.S. citizen. So it should include you again because it's expiring soon in March. So they need to put more money in your pocket. I won't go into specifics of the dollar amounts because the purpose of this video is for immigration. But because those unemployment benefits are expiring soon, Congress, Republicans and Democrats are trying to work together. They just had a meeting earlier tonight. They met for at least 2 hours, a lot more time than they expected to meet. And so they've already had interviews in the public talking about this. But they haven't talked publicly about the immigration portion of the bill. And that's why I encourage you to contact your elected official so you can tell them why it's important. Now, this bill will pass fairly soon. And when I say fairly soon, it has to be done before March 14th because that is when the unemployment benefits expire from the last bill that was passed. Okay, so I want to show you this political article from a couple days ago stating that Democrats are pressing forward for a path to citizenship in a COVID relief bill. If you've watched our other videos, I've shared with you before the different bills that have been introduced in Congress. And technically, there are actually many bills related to immigration, but mostly from Republicans on an anti-immigration position. I want to scroll down here and show you how important this continues to be for the Biden administration. In the political article, it says the Biden administration and Democrats on Capitol Hill have said passing a comprehensive immigration reform bill is a top priority for them, but they recognize that the main objective is progress. So I want to share an article from political.com. It says Democrats press for path to citizenship in COVID relief bill. And so this is dated a couple days ago, January 30th. That was a talk this weekend to put the immigration bill as part of the coronavirus relief package that's called the American Rescue Plan. Okay, so I want to restate how important this is to the Biden administration. I know many of y'all are skeptical. I am too. But the Biden administration and Democrats on Capitol Hill have said passing a comprehensive immigration reform bill is a top priority for them. We've been talking about comprehensive immigration reform for the last 30 plus years. So if you ask me, do I really think it could include these three categories of people? There's really more. Essential workers, TPS, and DACA, dreamers. And there's another category of people, for example, parents undocumented parents who have U.S. citizen children. And so you might know that your child has to be a U.S. citizen and also be over 21 in order to file for the parent. Many people have waited a long time already. And even if your child is a teenager now, you've already waited 10 years. It really should include people who have U.S. citizen children, but they haven't been included in the conversation yet. Of course, that would be comprehensive, but I think it will include at least, hopefully, essential workers, okay? Because that is an estimated 5 million people. I also want to share that House of Representative Joaquin Castro out of Texas, a Democrat who is also the former Congressional Hispanic Caucus chairman, is working on a standalone bill that would allow undocumented essential workers to apply for permanent resident status. And under this bill, the workers would be eligible to apply for citizenship in 5 years. So meaning having 5 years of resident status. If you are asking, is this really possible, John? Yes, it is possible. This is actually quite common. It has happened many times where some people, some group of politicians are in favor of a smaller bill and they haven't had a chance to get it passed before. So they'll try to put it into a larger bill, like a budget related bill, like this American Rescue Plan. So this is the ideal time. For me personally, I don't care if it's a standalone bill or included with this larger bill. It needs to whatever it is, it needs to happen as soon as possible. I think you would agree with me. Of course, we would love it to include all undocumented immigrants. But if we can get some immigrants in right now to be eligible, that would be wonderful. And then if you ask me, if you ask me this, John, do you think that Congress will pass another bill for immigrants? I do believe so. The goal here now is because they want to do it in a bipartisan way to win some favor from the Republicans. Although, do I think it's necessary? No, I don't think it's necessary, but it will save some time. It will save many months of debate. Friends, stay tuned for our next video. We're going to bring all the important updates to you. And please watch our next video.